So how come I can bench 325 pounds, I'm bulking yet my abs are still visible and I can still run faster and sprint faster for longer than anybody I know? Well, it's because I have optimized my hormones and made it so that not only I am a competitive young man, I can also adapt quicker because my hormonal health is better. I have better mental health because of this too. Now there are three keys to achieving, unlocking, if you will, the aesthetic Greek god body. The aesthetic Greek god body is essentially being strong, fast, lean, and big at the same time. And most people say you can only be one of the four. The truth is, nobody tells you that you can actually do things that impact your hormonal health. And the truth is, not only on a physical aspect, looking better, like actually having bigger muscles, like I literally got 17-inch arms, like a little bit more than 17 inches too. Not only that, your mind will actually be healthier. You will have a higher propensity to chase success because your hormones influence the thoughts you think, and the thoughts you think influence the actions you take, and the actions you take influence your success. It is a cycle, and optimizing your hormones is the only way to ensure that you stay disciplined, consistent for your goals, and make sure that you stay adaptable and that you can chase life, responding to it rather than reacting to your circumstances. So what do you need to understand? First of all, testosterone, you must understand. You know what, I'll tell you. Testosterone, SHBG, and androgen receptors. You must understand those three things in order to have a baseline understanding on how you can cultivate the aesthetic Greek god body. Of course, link in description is my full system for this. I just finished it. Testosterone. Competition influences testosterone. This is because testosterone exists for competition. The only reason why your biology, your genetics have survived is because of competition. Your ancestors had to compete for resources, they had to compete for status, and in turn they were able to attract their partner because they were able to have the testosterone that fueled their competition, and it was a nice positive feedback loop. So engage in competition. You can do this by, let's say, doing martial arts, by competing with your friends, like let's say when it comes to strength feats, and that can increase your testosterone as well. Like I remember with my closest friends, I was competing with trying to get to 315 bench press first, and I ended up winning, and I felt really good about myself because, of course, not only do you cultivate, not only does everybody get better at the same time. It's not like a lose-lose. Everybody actually gets better. If you're competing for strength, all of you get stronger. So all of that together, it pushes you to be a better version of yourself. And the best version of yourself is competitive. And of course, in a good way. Next up, you can decrease your body fat percentage to around 10 to 15% body fat. What this does is that if you have higher levels of body fat percentage, you will have more of this enzyme that's carried in fat called aromatase. Now, what aromatase does is it converts testosterone into estrogen. It converts testosterone into estradiol. And so, in the testosterone negative feedback, basically the way that testosterone works is that it's stimulated from the hypothalamus to the hypothalamus stimulates the anterior pituitary with gonadotropin releasing hormone, and then also the anterior pituitary releases luteinizing hormone to your Leydig cells in your testes so that you can release testosterone. And as a man, because most of your estrogen comes from your testosterone, then if you have high levels of estrogen, then you need to downregulate your testosterone production because you need to make sure your body is in a harmony, in a balance. So if you have more of your body fat that is converting your testosterone into estrogen, then you're going to have less testosterone because your body needs to downregulate it to maintain homeostasis. So decrease your body fat percentage to about 10 to 15% body fat. That's the best range. Anything less than that will actually be worse for your testosterone because cholesterol is the building block of fat. So have more saturated fats in your diet. This is not polyunsaturated compounds like seed oils that actually distort the good saturated fats. And like, isn't this crazy? Like, think about it. People tell you don't have saturated fats, but it's outdated science. We know now that the seed oils actually denature the saturated fats, the good fats, so they're telling you to have more of the bad stuff so that you can actually denature the good stuff. Because really, it's just a cause and effect. People tell you that the cause is the saturated fats, but no, it's you having seed oils that were made for friggin' machines, not even for human consumption at first. You're taking those things, and your body is an organic machine. If you have these things that are not right, they're basically just chemicals. If you're having those in your body, they will distort the good saturated fat in your body, and it will lead to more calcification in your arteries, and you will experience higher blood pressure and more inflammation from the seed oils, and all of that together will decrease your testosterone, because inflammation generally is bad for testosterone. Next up, phytoestrogens. Now you might have heard soy is bad. Well, phytoestrogens are not inherently bad. Basically what a phytoestrogen is an estrogen mimicking like compound from plants or from food. And so what that really means is that if you have more phytoestrogens in your diet, you can imagine that if you have higher levels of estrogen or estrogen mimicking compounds, it will downregulate your testosterone negative feedback. And of course, testosterone is responsible for making hard work feel fun, and like for motivation, and also for adaptability. So all of that together, it can help if you have less phytoestrogens in your diet, but phytoestrogens are not inherently bad. They are good, supportive for your heart and brain health. Altogether, you really just want to avoid the most potent forms of phytoestrogens, like soy and flax, and possibly corn, and possibly sesame. But soy and flax are the worst ones. You really don't want to worry about those, because not only can they decrease testosterone with actually extended periods of time, if you have phytoestrogens for a long extended period of time, you'll have more estrogen producing gut bacteria that actually can produce more powerful versions or compounds that mimic estrogen, that are actually more powerful than estradiol, which is your main the main type of estrogen in your body. So these compounds like equal can actually be more potent than estrogen at the estrogen receptor. This is actually very terrible, because it will downregulate your testosterone. And not only that, it's been shown in multiple studies that soy can actually decrease androgen receptor sensitivity, meaning that your testosterone might be fine in the short term, but your androgen receptors won't be as sensitive to the testosterone, so you might have a bunch of testosterone, but it's not even usable. So what's the point? Next up, heat on your balls. If the testes only work at a certain temperature that is 2 to 3 degrees lower than actual body temperature. Body temperature is about 37 degrees, by the way. So if your testicles are actually way too hot, like let's say you have a heated seat in your car, or you're in a place that is very, very hot, or you're wearing tight underwear that's not breathable, then you will have less testosterone levels, but also worse sperm quality, because your sperm, they might get distorted, because your testicles work best in a temperature that is a little bit cooler than your body temperature. So keep that in mind. If you're in a hot place, just move around to like a colder area. Just make sure to cool down. Wear breathable cotton shorts, and we'll get into why cotton is especially important. So that's testosterone. You need to make sure that you increase your testosterone so you can increase your adaptability and also motivation. Of course, we don't want to rely on motivation solely, because it's just not, it's fickle, it's an emotion. So the next things are, these two are most important, because testosterone, sure, it's baseline, it's level 1, but you need to make sure that your testosterone is usable. If your testosterone is not usable, then what's the point of having it, right? So the thing I want to first mention is SHBG. SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin, actually binds to the total testosterone in your body and makes it less usable. So if you have a lot of testosterone, but you also have a lot of SHBG, what's up happening is that your testosterone becomes less bioavailable to your androgen receptors, meaning that less of your testosterone can actually bind to the androgen receptor, and you can't actually use the testosterone you have. And so that's pretty terrible. So not only, sex hormone binding globulin is important for the body, because you don't want all of your testosterone to be free, or else it could lead to more just different diseases. I'm pretty sure diabetes is one of them, but that's when you have 50% free test, and that's not actually as good. So that won't happen naturally. Your body is very good at having the natural homeostatic levels. Homeostasis is balance. SHBG, if you want to lower it, you can increase your protein intake, and you can have more protein. Now, some people say that this is a little bit difficult, but it is a mindset. It's truly a mindset. You can find different ways of having protein easier. You can have things like tuna. You can have things like yogurt. A lot of different types of yogurt have high protein. You can have more meat. All these things together, you can actually increase your protein intake. And I recommend, if you want to lower SHBG especially, and make your testosterone more usable, you can have more than 1 gram per pound of body weight. Typically, this is pretty good if you have the grams per pound of protein of the body weight you actually desire. with that, because you're going to be having more grams per pound than you really need, then your SHBG will actually get lowered. Other thing is supplementing with boron. Boron is like just a periodic table element, and you can have it, and it's not like super high on the tier list of supplements. Like in my program, I have a full tier list. It's not super high, but boron can actually lower SHBG. So that's also important to note. Now we have the androgen receptors. The androgen receptors are the acceptors of testosterone. So if you don't have healthy androgen receptors, then you're not going to be able to accept testosterone, even if it's free, even if your SHBG is low. So how can you optimize your androgen receptors? Well, you can make it so that you need the testosterone immediately. Things like explosive training. You can practice sprinting. You can do heavy lifting. Now, a lot of people say when you get advice for testosterone, heavy lifting increases testosterone. No. Heavy lifting does not increase testosterone. It actually gives it an acute spike, but then it goes to lower than baseline after. And then, of course, through homeostasis, it ends up going back to baseline in a couple hours. Truth is that heavy lifting, quick explosive movements are not actually really that good for testosterone because it ends up going down lower. Of course, short explosive bursts of stress can make it so that your adrenal glands secrete a little bit of testosterone, but it's very negligible. Of course, it can be useful. But heavy lifting itself actually promotes androgen receptor sensitivity and also density. The fast twitch muscle fibers responsible for this kind of exercise, this resistance training, they will become more sophisticated and you have more androgen receptors in your fast twitch muscle fibers. Make sure you understand this. Then there's xenoestrogens. So we learned about phytoestrogens, but then there's xenoestrogens. Xenoestrogens are, think of man-made chemicals. Things that actually can mimic estrogen within the body. Things like plastic, BPA is kind of a plastic that they have. And what BPA can do is it can act as an estrogenic within your body, meaning that it can mimic estrogen and interfere with estrogen signaling, therefore downregulating the testosterone production. And we don't want any of that. That's actually pretty terrible, and we want to have high levels of testosterone that is usable. Not only can xenoestrogens like BPA interfere with estrogen signaling, they can actually bind to the androgen receptor instead of testosterone and not have the actual effects of testosterone. And that's never good, never good. So again, we have chemicals. Make sure if you have a sunscreen that is a chemical-based sunscreen, like something with bisphenol A, those are not that good. They're actually a little bit carcinogenic, but it's very slightly. But the thing is, if you use it for a long extended period of time, what ends up happening is that, well, it's bioaccumulated in your body, and that's pretty bad, especially for your fertility. When it comes to, if you have a lot of chemicals within your body and they end up going into your sperm because you haven't detoxified your body, then your kids aren't actually going to be as healthy as they would be at a baseline when they're actually born. It's actually more important for women that they optimize this. So, I mean, while this is a video generally directed towards men, if you have a woman in your life and let's say she's going to plan to have kids, she needs to make sure that her hormones and her actual, not even just her hormones, but her actual health when it comes to avoiding chemicals and like plastics is really good. Because women only have a certain number of eggs, and so if you get a forever chemical inside of an egg and your body can't actually get rid of it, and generally your body is pretty good at getting rid of things from your body and detoxifying yourself, but let's say you're being really unhealthy and you're not getting, like you're getting a lot of chemicals within you, then it's going to be a lot harder to detoxify your body, especially the older you get. So these forever chemicals that get trapped there, pretty bad for fertility, pretty bad for the actual health of your child. Like at a baseline, they will have lesser health, and they didn't even do anything. Why would you have that for your next successors? Again, this is the idea of bioaccumulation. We want to make sure our bloodline is safe and that our bloodline is competitive as well. There's many studies that are showing that babies now are being born with like less distance with their perineum, like their pelvic floor distances between their actual genitals and their butt is actually getting like longer in males, and I'm pretty sure it was longer. I don't think it was shorter, but anyways, it's actually worse for not only size, but it's worse for fertility. So all that together, make sure that this is, my whole YouTube channel is not just about hormonal optimization and like the health of you, the health, it's about the health of generations. What you do now actually influences your family for generations. So you must take this seriously, because not only will you get the aesthetic body, not only do you get the attraction from women, not only you get, I guess, smarter because you're able to unlock your brain more and be able to convey yourself much better. All of this together, it's not just about you, it's also about your family. Really want you to just let that sit with you. Last thing I'll mention is L-carnitine. It's an amino acid. You usually get it from your diet, but if you want to supplement with it, it will increase your androgen receptors density. So that's also important to take note. Now, all of this together, this will help you build the aesthetic Greek god body with the speed, agility, and the vitality, of course, the strength, the size, all of those things together. Now, if you want my full system, I just released it, for hormonal optimization, you want to join a community with like-minded people that can influence your competition, join now. My program in the description below is incredible. I have made sure to meticulously provide value, make sure that not only you have video modules that can help you get to the goal of the aesthetic Greek god body, not only I have those modules, I also have implementable, actionable steps and different things, different resources that will help you get to this goal. I guarantee you, I increased my bench press 100 pounds in 7 months after I was plateaued at 225 pounds for 1 full year, meaning that I'm at 325 pounds bench and I'm still getting stronger every single month, not only in my upper body, but in my legs. Now, I know that this might sound crazy, but my system is actually biologically proven, because technically with a 325 bench press, I should be able to squat 422.5 pounds, I believe it was. So all of this together, I want you to understand that I have a biologically proven system that guarantees results. And I wouldn't be mentioning it so much if I didn't believe in it, if I didn't think it would positively impact my brand. Because the truth is, I've been doing this for free for years, and I definitely think that I've gotten better at delivering value. And look, man, I have your best interest in mind, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be able to actually make a success. And so the truth is, I have your best interest in mind, because not only does it benefit you, it also benefits me. It also benefits me that you get results. So those are my guarantees. Check the link in the description below. Truly join. There's a free trial and everything. Like the video, bro.